Greetings viewers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are back on my 2013 Subaru BRZ. In today's video, we will be helping out the rear visibility in this car. Those of you that own a BRZ know it is very tricky to see out the back of this thing. So we are going to be installing a factory backup camera. Now this is technically an aftermarket backup camera, but it works with the factory head unit and functions just the same as the later BRZ's factory backup camera. With that said, let's go ahead and jump in to this install. So guys, I picked up this kit from Emerald Integrations, and it's got everything you need to put a backup camera in your BRZ and work with the factory head unit. And I believe the kit was only about 99 bucks, so it doesn't break the bank. Kit even includes a hole saw for drilling the back of the trunk lid where you need to install the camera. So guys, one of the first things we want to do is get back here to our trunk and open it up. We want to remove our little trunk liner here. Just pop up the clips. We're going to need access to the wiring in here. We're also going to have to take off our rear panel in the trunk lid right above our license plate so we can drill it, install the camera, and start running our wiring up to the factory head unit. So now that we got our trunk liner out of the way, we need to reach up in here and pop out two 8mm nuts, and there's a couple clips. We should be able to pop that panel out. Also, I think I just discovered where the water was getting in my trunk, as the trunk lid holes for the clips for the spoiler are wallered out and not sealed. So it looks like we figured that out. And we'll need to reach under here and disconnect our license plate lights. And we'll also, on my car, have to take down the trunk lock cylinder, like so. Oh, actually we've got another bolt, or another nut. So with all of that out of the way, you can just pop that off like so. So now what we need to do is drill our backup camera, and you might be able to just barely make out where the factory backup camera is supposed to sit there. There's a little dimple right here, and we're going to drill right in the center there. So we'll take our hole saw that comes with our kit, and we'll simply drill our hole for our camera. All right, now that we've got our hole drilled, cleaned up with some isopropyl alcohol, we can put on our little insulator and pop our camera into the hole. So now that we got the little weather strip on there, we'll feed the wiring harness through and pop our rear camera into place. Just like so. And we'll leave the little protective cover on it for now. All right, now with our camera mounted, we're gonna need to run our wiring through the trunk lid down here to this wiring grommet. And we need to run it through here and into our trunk. Let's pop these off, and we will reattach our little beauty cover back here. And we'll run our wiring through this hole here. And all set. Now we can put our nuts back on, put our lock cylinder back on, and put our tag lights back in before we run this wiring over and down the trunk lid and over here. Although due to the quite short length of this wiring, we might have to run our pigtail or rest of our wiring up through and connect this and keep the connection in the trunk lid. So now that that is reinstalled, let's go ahead and start pulling apart our interior, and we'll go inside and pop off the radio trim and pull the radio out. We'll go ahead and hook it all up, make sure it works first, and then we'll tuck all the wiring away. So over here in the passenger side, we need to get behind this panel and pry it up. Should just be like 4 or 5 little clips holding it in place. And pop it off just like so. Looks like someone broke a couple clips off already. And looks like they put the faux carbon fiber wrap on here. I thought that was the way it came. I didn't realize. And then we'll pop off our radio trim. And just like so. Again, a couple little clips holding it in place. Then we can go ahead and unbolt our radio and pull the head unit out. So just a couple of 10mm headed bolts, I believe, is all that holds it in here. It might be those 2 Phillips as well. Nope, that's it. And we'll pull the head unit out. Now at the back here, we need to pull the pigtail loose and put this harness in between to intercept for our backup camera signal. And our backup signal intercept this pin right here, this plug right here at the top, and plug our connector with the 1 wire in there. Then we just got to hook up our red wire and our aux input to our long harness and run that all the way back to the camera. We'll turn the ignition on, put the car in reverse, and make sure our camera functions as it should. All right, so a little test run. We've got our wiring half rigged up, and we'll pop it into reverse real quick and see if it's working. And shift it in reverse, and look at there, we've got backup camera. Now we've got double lines on here, and if I recall correctly, you've got to cut either the green or the white loop at the back to get rid of the lines, and we're good to go on running our wiring up and finalizing this install. All right, so I clipped the green wire at the back, and now we've got our factory lines and no more double lines. And if we clip the white wire, it'll flip the image. We don't need to do that, so we are good to go. And this is what I'm talking about here at the back. You cut the green loop to get rid of the double parking lines, and you cut the white loop if you need to flip the camera. All we need to do was cut the green, so we'll put a little bit of electrical tape over that, keep it from connecting, and we'll pop this loose and run that wiring up here. So our plan of attack here is we're just going to run this up through this hole here, through the grommet, and connect it in the trunk lid, and then we'll just tuck it with this wiring harness and back behind this trunk panel, and we'll run along here and go under the trim panel over here and down the side of the driver's seat, up under the dash and around to the head unit. All right, so I ran our cable through this plug, out this plug, through the trunk lid up to here. As I said, we'll connect these two, tuck them back in the trunk lid, pull our slack back in, leaving a little bit of slack in there. Pop these two grommets back in, and then we'll run it on up to the radio. Now, it is important that you properly route and secure this wiring. You don't want it to just be loosey-goosey in here and hanging around, because it could rub on something and cut the wire. So we're going to be using a combination of tested tape, electrical tape, and zip ties to properly secure this. And we're going to try to keep it tucked in as close as possible to factory wiring. That way we know it is routed in a safe way. All right, guys, so I've gone a little overboard on tucking these wires, and we got it ran all the way up until here when I noticed all of that. So apparently at some point in this vehicle's life, there was an immobilizer on it, so I don't like this. I don't like the way they left it. We're gonna go back and fix this. Already cut this section out, but yeah, don't like that. This has got to be like my #1 pet peeve when it comes to automotive repair, is people that destroy wiring. So they skinned these two wires, wrapped a wire around it, soldered it, and electrical taped it. This one they crimped together. I was able to solder it back together and heat shrink it. This one, I'm not going to cut them and solder them because they're really, really short. So I guess I'm going to be forced to cover these in liquid electrical tape and then wrap them back up. And then we can wrap the harness and fix all that disgustingness. Just, God, don't mess with wiring if you don't know what you're doing. So wiring has been routed up behind the radio, brought it over. We have soldered and heat shrinked our power wire. We have hooked up our doodly bop. I cannot, for the life of me, RCA cable. And now what I got to do is put a little eyelet on this ground wire, and we're probably going to ground it right there. And put the head unit back together and the interior back together, and we're all done. So guys, got our ground wire right there on that little eyelet. Got our power wire hooked up, the RCA, and all the extra wire just bundled up and threw a zip tie around it. Now we can tuck that down in the back there and got our head unit back into place. And now we can give it one more test before we button everything back up. And we're good to go, even though we're looking at the sky right now because the trunk lid's open. So now what we gotta do is button up our interior and we're done. And much, much better under here, looking a lot more like factory other than that one wire up to our head unit. So guys, got the entire interior put back together on the BRZ. Put our trunk liner back in. Now what we gotta do is peel off our protective sticker, and we're all done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one.